quick to walk away.
In Christian theology, you have an all knowing, all powerful God who forgives all sins if you choose to believe in him. However, if you do not, you're condemned to hell for eternity. What does this mean? This means that, in essence, you create a culture of a vertical morality where you have an in group that is saved and you have an out group that is not saved. And whatever happens to the in group is something to be concerned about, but whatever happens to the out group is rationalized as being part of God's will. The thing is that when you have an all-powerful, all-knowing God who is in control of everything, then all suffering must be for a reason. And if you are part of the in-group, then that suffering must be for a good reason, because God is in control. But if you are part of an out-group, that suffering is also for a good reason, and you also deserve it, because otherwise God might not put you in a position to accept him. Which means that in many ways Christian culture can often be less concerned with the preservation of life and with helping others, because people in the out-group deserve suffering, pain, and tragedy. This happens a lot because you have a theology that preaches an afterlife as well as an all-powerful God who is in control of everything. Therefore, everything that happens is predetermined and part of God's plan. So if you're seeing 150 people dying in a Middle Eastern country that is majority Muslim, most Christians won't be sympathetic because they believe it's God's will. It's because they believe in vertical morality, in that this is an outgroup, and therefore the suffering that they're dealing with isn't that important because somehow they did something to deserve it. This Christian doctrine of an omnipotent and omniscient God that is in control of everything, as well as belief in an afterlife, as well as total unconditional forgiveness upon receiving salvation, creates a culture that has a propensity for being lethargic. In that, why bother changing things if we just live in a fallen world, if God is in control and he has a plan for all of us? And there's a lot of false beliefs that come from this, such as the just world fallacy, the idea that the wrongdoers of this life will get their comeuppance. And it just doesn't happen that way. There are a lot of bad people who get away with doing bad things over and over again. It also creates a false belief of weighing intentions more than repercussions of actions. For instance, there are multiple cases of missionaries trying to reach uncontacted indigenous people in South America as well as in India with the North Sentinel Islands. And the problem with that is that the reason why we don't try to contact those people is because they are unexposed to several pathogens that we have natural immunities for. So if we try to go to those islands, the odds that we spread a disease that wipes out that entire tribe is very high. And this has happened before, where missionaries have gone to indigenous tribes that were uncontacted, and that has resulted in almost all of them being wiped out by disease. But again, vertical morality can really skew your perspective on things, in that a missionary dying after visiting an uncontacted tribe and spreading diseases to them is a good thing. But also, hundreds of Muslims dying before they can receive salvation is also a good thing, because one of them is an in-group and another one is an out-group. And it's just not a fair judgment of events.